One more match. One last chance at survival for these two teams. One best of 5. RAD, the third place team in EMEA, fighting for their hope to try and stick around with Virtus Pro and Na'Vi.
When's Shib gassing? I think Shib already finished gassing.
Remaining China team. The furthest they've ever got in an international tournament would be winning this match to equal it.
Wow, and that is a tough task to do against RAD, but we have to remember they did find success in that tournament by taking maps off the likes of Na'Vi, the likes of FlyQuest, the likes
he's on the
Crazy
analyst
Raccoon
desk
and
now,
Citadel,
chat.
right? We've seen OUG and these players do it on LAN before. However, we do have to call a spade a spade. This RAD roster has looked pretty rad, to put it simply. Crazy Kitty has been unbelievable, but the Black Cat is banned going into this first one. They've tried to go for the strategy of going on along the lines of the Ultron and the Penny, but we saw the Penny ban come out right at the end. But they are looking like they might still go along the lines of using that Ultron to their advantage alongside the Adam Warlock, just as we saw in the previous matchup.
Well, we know from Ultra Gaming in their region, Illicit coming over from the Pirates roster from Asia, and he is filling some heavy shoes of Molan Ram, but has
sunflower
shown
seeds are
that
delicious.
aggression can do so much work, and you can see with that very solo wraparound that they are looking to try and focus on somebody's backline, especially with the triple strategist coming in for RAD. Even without the Penny, they do stick with this Ultron and Adam Warlock team up.
Well, if someone is going to be aware of a Black Cat position, it's going to be Crazy Kitty, so I'm sure he's going to have his eyes out for Illicit, but it's Sval who gets the opener onto Smash, as you mentioned, and over Ultra Gaming will get the advantage in this engagement now and potentially the chance to take this first point.
When Shuyen takes out Lugia Go, just right now, over Ultra Gaming have a heavy set of momentum on the board, forcing the retreat out of RAD, who try and drop the snowball to try and just zone out, get a little bit of crowd control. The strategist just bullied off the point, forced to retreat.
Wow, OUG took the first point.
To re-engage.
No crazy stall like we saw in our previous matchup with 100 Thieves. No portal to try and keep this one going. RAD are happy to back off, retreat, and give it one up to OUG, who have been able to build up the Seer, but on the other side, RAD are also doing very well building up to their ultimates as well. As in the moment, Taro is just going to be able to hold down this point alongside the rest of the squad, but now Extermination gets blasted, but maybe Crazy Kitty gets ripped out of the sky.
Crazy Kitty was able to track Illicit, but it's picked off themselves, making it a 1-for-1. But it's over Ultra Gaming are absolutely
nice. This guy has good movement. Oh,
we
never mind.
Lose Taro Cookie as he pushes a little bit too far.
Never mind.
Get taken down by Mash. Mash has a little bit of experience, not just at international events, but on over Ultra Gaming, subbing in for them at the Grand Finals last year, and is really coming to try and show the lead that they have over them. But for now, over Ultra Gaming with 55% on the board.
That being said, if RAD can take this point at any moment, that's when they should solidify a round victory, because this kind of composition is meant for defense, it's meant for setting up, but they are struggling to break through OUG, and OUG just have so much utility to work with right now. Taro can pop that Gladrox whenever you would like, alongside Meteor M, of course. So much offensive utility to work with.
Vertigo's dropped to half. I don't know if they have Cocoon at this stage. They're going to drop the Karma Rival right off the bat to make sure that Crazy Kitty and Ducky can return to the fight, because they're running out of time. Sval, with the fate of both worlds, is going to try and mirror as they wait for anyone of RAD to step up. Media M, RAD are just burning all their cooldowns, looking to try and take out Sval. Turns it off to Disaster instead, removing the rocket from the board. Mirror going to be coming out from Wenshu. Yeah.
Oh my god. Oh, nice shot.
Cocoon is in play, so Vertigo will return to the fight, which they need desperately, because numbers are now in favor of RAD, but overtime has already been hit as over Ultra Gaming have taken us to the 99%.
Oh my god.
It takes out one, but falls with the rest of their team as we get the
That guy was kicked in the face by Widow, bro.
So long for RAD, didn't it, to get that point, and even though they do have things to use coming back into this engagement from OUG, was it a little bit too long? Did they underestimate OUG coming into this first round? That would be a big question. I love the switch from Illicit, getting off the Black Cat, moving over to the
How you doing, Dad? Did you have dinner?
You'll find a little bit more success when attacking here. Just that extra little bit of damage.
Uh-oh.
Difference maker to try and break.
The deflect gives them a
That's
little
not
bit
my
of
fault.
sustain
That's not my
onto
fault,
the
chat.
objectives. They can try
That's not
and
my
take
fault.
these longer fights. They can try and scout Vertigo, but he tries to move in
That's
for
not my
common
fault.
survival. He's only at 20%, but if the fight goes long enough, he might be able to build up a second one here. Smashness already charged up with that new Widow ultimate.
Tomorrow I'll go to my
pop
neighbor's
it.
house to make sure he
Committed
paid his
to the fight to try and take out
Wi-Fi.
anyone who steps out, but the deflect from Illicit keeps them topped up. They're able to dance away from the fight. Taro Cookie does fall, but comes back at the Rebirth Beacon, but drops out a second time Gaskin. as finally RAD seem to be getting some momentum on their side.
And they need it. They need to be holding this point. Allow that Adam Warlock ultimate, the Karmic Revival, to build up as much as possible. Smash gets one. Ninja replies though onto Ducky, and now the Seer comes out from OUG, which may just be enough to give them enough damage to take this point away from RAD. But RAD, they've been able to deflect. They've been able to get around some of this scenery, use the objects in their favor, and now they re-engage.
Rage of Ultron is going to force out a Fade of both worlds as well. So Mash coming in as well is going to use the damage bonus to try and allow Crazy Kitty to take something down. You have both strategist ultimates at the same time, but it's enough to take down Taro Cookie.
What did you eat for dinner?
Down the rest of the members
Emily
of
made
Ultra
green
Gaming
beans
to
and a little bit of
and
meat.
make the most out of using all their
Did you
defensive
eat, Dad?
tools, and it will be enough to keep the control in favor of RAD. But overall, Ultra Gaming only losing one member. They're just
And my dessert
holding
is
back
sunflower
in
seeds.
this
I
choke
love
point,
sunflower
waiting
seeds,
for the
chat.
regroup.
We're into the neutral, and the ults are beginning to build up. OUG probably the closest as outside of Ducky, of course, on that Meteor M, which we already can see on our screens. And Ducky is holding so well, or he was, until he gets obliterated by Ninja and the rest of the squad, as OUG now march forward.
Fold with the freeze for the setup there is doing good. Ninja gets frozen themselves. Taro Cookie getting dropped low. Vertigo falls, comes back with Cocoon. He knows he needs to stay in this fight with a healing output. Meteor M from Wen Shuyan to find the backline. Won't find any targets, but it gets a little bit of damage absorption here. But the rest of the members of RAD are starting to fall down. Ducky's looking for a portal because they're
You had
running low on time.
Cheesecake
It's a big
Factory?
pick up, and
Did
he
you go
has
there
to
and eat
portal
it?
solo because his team is staggered. Overtime ticking down. People are coming back one by one. But Vertigo falls another time. No Cocoon as over Ultra Gaming. Keep control. What an early setup here. Over Ultra Gaming 1-0 on the first map.
Just that first
Nice,
push,
nice.
that
I did not
initial
know
point
that
control was
OUG
so big
was gonna
for
win the first
OUG,
map,
and
bro.
It took RAD far too long to break. I mean,
They haven't
Ducky at
won
the
the
end
first
having to
map, but, like,
sacrifice
the first
Meteor
map
M
will
just
cost.
to switch over to the Strange as well. So they lose on the ult economy race a little bit going into round 2. And perhaps, maybe, some people have been counting out this OUG roster, but that is the perfect way to demonstrate that they very much deserve to be here, and they can go toe-to-toe with one of the best from EMEA. What we have seen, though, from RAD already in this tournament is they're very good at coming back when they lose the initial rounds. I understand that nerves start to come into play.
I'm not wrong yet,
Maybe
chat.
you're underestimating your opponent
That
a
was the
little bit as
first
well.
round.
Starting to get a little bit late here in LA, but RAD need to wake up. Otherwise, if OUG have that same kind of control going into the next, they can very much sweep them here 2-0.
It's important to note that on Domination, cooldowns carry over between rounds. This is both a boon and a bane for RAD. Vertigo, this means that they're at 79%.
You guys are not gonna say
towards
L
a Karmic
prediction
Revival.
after I
A
win. Watch.
huge boon, but also they used Portal at the end, and it was not enough to secure.
How
them
was the new
points. So
Spider-Man
RAD have
movie?
almost
I didn't watch it,
minutes
Dad.
Until they can portal back if need be, whereas Over Ultra Gaming can do it.
But I heard it's really
immediately.
good.
Speaking of immediately, Fate of Both Worlds is available if they want to go for a hyper-aggressive engage.
And this would have been a very different game had RAD have got the pen.
Oh my
by
God,
the
that's
way. We
that's
have to
something I
credit
should
for
do with my
OUG
dad. I don't think the
spotting
last
out
time
what
I
was attempted
don't remember the
with
last
that
time I went to a
composition
movie
being
theater with
built.
my dad.
Take the penny away, and suddenly RAD lose so much power away from what they were trying to go for. Smash, though, can maybe take out some of the backline.
Usually when I watch
Disaster
movies
gets
at home with
ripped
my
off
dad,
the
he's falling
server,
asleep.
And now OUG may decide to back away from this one unless they want to pop an ult of their own.
Goldon comes on out, so it's a commitment from RAD, pushing on to the point, and it works out beautifully, taking down everyone on the side of Over Ultra Gaming. Taro Cookie drops his ult as well. He goes down, and Over Ultra Gaming, they'd already lost that fight, but Taro finished off the board as well. Illicit also ults to try and commit to that fight. Illicit goes down, and RAD take the point, take the ults, and come out ahead.
Yeah, that's poor decision making from OUG, and they know it. They didn't need to use
Yeah,
those two
I don't
ults to
know
back
what
away
that
and give
Black
the fight
Cat
up
ult
and
was, bro.
re-engage
That looked like
afterwards. You could have four,
a
make it
solo
5
queue
ults
player
going
trying to
into
like
this
win a
next fight,
1v6.
and potentially stop
I don't know
this
about
percentage
that.
ticking over to RAD, who now gain advantage, and Vertigo is going to have Karmic Revival as well going into the next engagement. Rage of Ultron going to be there as well. Also, notice the switch. Lugia now over to the Magneto with Ducky onto the group.
They've got themselves set up to try and zone out. Rage of Ultron straggling Prism, and it's unleashing the damage from the android to take them down as fast as they can. But it's a retreat coming out from Lugia as they weren't able to get much more than Taro Cookie. The Fate of Both Worlds was used, but they're getting picked off on the side. Illicit was found trying to cause problems and is taken down. RAD are forcing Over Ultra Gaming back to their spawn.
They double straddled it. Again, it was the Seer and Fate of Both Worlds that came out from OUG. Panic buttons being pressed at the moment with RAD dropping onto them and really just showing what that Strangling
That's
Prism
not good.
into Rage of Ultron could do. As now, 56% ticks up, and it just feels like, for me, RAD have got too much of a hold now on this point.
Don't get a little worrying. Clobbering time comes on now, but Meteor M's going to absorb a lot of the damage. Vertigo is taken down.
Oh!
Cocoon could, in theory, sacrifice it here, but it's going to come back. Karmic Revival.
Bro, that is tilting, man. That is tilting.
The revives, looking for the entrance.
Oh, dude, come on, man.
Huge for RAD, which means they're going to continue this fight. Smashed gets the ultimate on the Widow, trying to go for the wraparound to snipe off anyone on the retreat. Finds Illicit. Good damage output, not enough for the finishing blow, as Over Ultra Gaming are still in this fight. Rocket
Chat, how did they decide the map? The first map is a random cost map, and then everything after that, the loser picks.
Still ticking up towards 100, and now you see Rage of Ultron gets back already here from Crazy Kitty. Let's rip onto OUG, who are out now of ults. It's purely the neutral for them, but they may need someone to go off here to find something special to try and break this setup now from RAD.
He's got a good angle with the Cosmic Yarn Amplifier coming out from Disaster, keeping the damage output going. It's focused out beautifully by RAD, but with overtime ticking down, this is all or nothing for Over Ultra Gaming, and they're fighting into a fate of both worlds while Spawn is 99, 100, meaning they can keep this fight going just a little bit longer. They're holding on as much as they can, but Alyssa needs it, but Alyssa goes down before the healing.
He root ulted, and then the Daredevil deflected the right click. Wow.
The score on map number 1. They look for another pickup, waiting out that healing from Svold, and Vertigo has a beautiful angle, just unleashing these cosmic clusters, getting that healing cooldown back, and piling on the pressure as overtime ticks down.
Also building up this ultimate going into the 6v5. Of course, now OUG back up to 6 as I say that. Mac goes down, Smash gets in, Mash gets one, and they'll be off the point as OUG
we got a
will
game,
lose
chat.
that round. RAD, equalize us up.
Taro ulted at the end of that round as well, thinking they could try and delay a little bit more, maybe pick someone off to allow a duelist to step up, but they got the round is taken from them, meaning once again, Widow will be getting the round without the ultimate available. We are 1-1 on Celestial Husk, and RAD not going down without a fight.
Some bad ultimates there from OUG. I think they know it, you know it, we know it. And they need to be a little bit better at their communication, making sure that...
Damn, that Luna has a 69% accuracy.
You're not just throwing away ults when
almost
you're already down in the fight.
That's kind of crazy.
They could have had that round. They could have had the map had they planned out these ults a little bit better. But that's also the pressure that's being applied from RAD here as well. That's the kind of, well, that's what can happen within you going up against this kind of composition. When you see a Strand Prison into Rage of Ultron, it's natural as a strategist to say, oh crap, I need to do something here. I need to get my ult out. But with both of them doing it, RAD were just laughing their way back to the point.
Speaking of strategists, Crazy Kitty, once again, usually the dive player was even target banned by Over Ultra Gaming here. Playing the Ultron has been putting on a clinic here, and very importantly, he actually has the most healing on his team, showing the power of that team up with the Petty that isn't even needed in this case. Just piling on as much pressure as possible. It is the unupgraded team up coming in here, but they're still getting value and still being able to find pickups.
So it doesn't matter if Crazy Kitty is down on the floor with his claws or up in the sky as Ultron still finding value. Mash is the one who gets the opener in the end. Meteor M is, again, just kind of thrown into nothing. In the end, the bubble sucks it all up. And RAD are able to just bully OUG away a little bit as another Rage of Ultron comes through.
When Julian tries to zone away the healing to allow them to pick up anyone here, Lugia in particular, but it's going to be that Rage of Ultron.
I did not think OUG would bring this game that close, bro. I thought it was going to be a quick 3-0, but OUG is playing pretty well.
Gaming are forced to back up and regroup.
Yeah, this is really bad news for OUG. Just giving the first point away when the Adam Warlock and the Trip Strat is on the other side. Very difficult to try and break. That's why they were so successful in the first, because they never allowed RAD to really set up accordingly on that point. And now with that Calming Rival there, waiting just in the wings for RAD if they need it as a backup. OUG do have Invisible Boundary that they can pop if needed as well. But really, in this initial push, they are going to struggle a little bit just from the amount of space RAD have been able to find.
Listen, has abandoned their dive. They're onto the Winter Soldier. They know they need a miracle, and sometimes Kraken impacts directly into an Adam ultimate can be exactly what you need when it comes to that. For now, Tainted Voltage just sitting in a couple shots. Here comes the Invisible Boundary that will directly counter Smashness, who drops their ultimate at the same time. So it's a good defensive setup for Over Ultra Gaming as they're going to try and take some point control here. There's zoning Crazy Kitty out. Karmic Revival going to be coming out immediately because Ducky was picked off early, as is Crazy Kitty, as is Mash, and Vertigo with the value here. Keeps right on
that
the
is
point
a
to
big
res,
bro.
A little bit further, but Illicit has Kraken Impact at the ready, so they just need to try and force out that Fate of Both Worlds from Mash. Ninja pushing forward, Dragon Lane present, Fate of Both Worlds for the defense here as Taro Cookie is picked off beautifully here.
Oh no, this is bad. This is bad for OUG, bro. They have no ults. RAD had the better Luna ult and and they
of the
still
ultimate
have,
match, by the way,
we got-
recognizing what could possibly
They still
be
got
on the
Groodle.
other side, recognizing and
Unless-
tracking those ultimates on the side of OUG
Wow.
is now
Unless
Smash tracking
OUG
himself
Magneto
with all those
can eat
bullets
that
from Black
Groodle. I don't
Widow
think
as
so,
they
bro.
tick up to 82%, so it's one last chance really
It's
for
GG's.
OUG, and it is going to be a
OUG doesn't have any
all
support ults,
six
it's GG's.
through. Can they take this away from RAD?
Alyssa was the one to swap to make sure they could get the portal in time, meaning when Shuyen has that meteor at the ready, but it's going to be Taro Cookie picked off on the backline. Disaster falls. That's a duelist and a strategist, meaning it's just Vanguards and Spalls to try and
chat.
tell the story, but there's no one left to hear it, as down goes Ninja, and RAD will hold control, and they will take
Wait.
number one.
Looked a little
There
bit
goes-
dicey, a little bit worrying after
Down
that
goes
first
Ninja.
round,
Wait.
but RAD returned to their
Ninja
former
from
glory and
Fortnite
showed
is
just
playing in
why
MRI?
They are such a threatening force in this tournament. They may be in the lower bracket, but they are still a huge underdog here, a dark horse
Wait.
to potentially go quite the distance if they play that way. They just need to try and negate some of those early rounds. Because
Bro, I don't
not
see
every
enough
team they're gonna
movement.
be able to have those kind of comebacks against, right? If you give that round away to the likes of TLC, the likes of Swamp, the likes of Na'Vi, they will punish you. But as of now, they are able to overturn that first round loss.
Talked about it before, domination is essentially the most important map type because it
Wait, I missed you
chooses the
something.
momentum. It gives you options later on because if you win Dom, especially in best of threes, for example, you get your map choice later on. even if
Ninja
you lose
is
map
not
2,
following
which can just be a
Jay3.
2-0 right off the bat. But now in these best
No,
of
it's
fives,
watch time.
RAD do get that momentum, and OUG, despite what was a magnificent first
Ninja
round
spent 12
performance,
hours watching
found
Jay3.
themselves struggling later on. You mentioned
Damn.
it.
Ninja watched me for 12 hours,
Some
stat.
of those ultimates were used at the same time. Some of them were used a little bit late when the point was going down. OUG, they need to make sure that their communication is on point here.
Yeah, really bad usage. You have to call a spade a spade. They should be better than that. And I'd like to think going into this next one, they would have learned that lesson. And again, it could be down to nerves for them as
How about
well.
Tim the Tap
Right?
Man?
This is a elimination game. If you lose this, you're out of the tournament. You worked so hard to get to this point, to get to play on LAN in front
Tim
of
the
a
Tap Man
crowd,
spent 3
and
hours
suddenly
watching me.
you're
Wow.
one round up,
Tim the-
maybe
Ninja is a
nerves get
better
the best
friend
of you
than
a
Tim.
little bit, alas. RAD will
Tim
very
watched
much
me
take some
only for
mistakes
3
on the other
hours.
side,
Ninja
and they
watched
take
me for
full
12, but
advantage of
Ninja
it.
doesn't
If you
follow
look
me
now
on
back
any
at the
socials.
replays,
But
and they
Tim
needed it,
does.
RAD, because the first round looked a little bit shaky on their side.
I mean,
Damn.
look at this. Over Ultra Gaming, they land the pickups. Taro Cookie went down for one overextend, but otherwise was absolutely dominating. When Shuyen landing the Meteor M's to snipe people off the point, every single thing went in over Ultra Gaming's favor. The Daredevil, the Black Cat, everything, they kept the pressure on. And the second we get to round 2, it feels
Right,
like
watch this,
either
chat.
they got
Ready?
in their own
Watch
heads,
this,
or
chat.
there was just a comm issue. Something went wrong. And over Ultra Gaming, they've got to fix it before map 2.
They have
Damn.
to, and I think it surprises me, considering OUG have been good with Penny historically as well, they had the option to have it on their own side, and they banned it away, but they didn't use it in the end. They wanted to go for maybe something more of a similar structure that they were perhaps a little bit more familiar with, but you could try and fight fire with fire if they wanted to on the other side, but they opt to go for something that they would have preferred. And now RAD, going into this next one, of course, have to go against OUG's map choice.
Yes.
So I am intrigued to see where we end up going. Will it be the usual Museum of Contemplation, or do OUG have something a little bit more special up their sleeves?
And if it is, do we see similar to these ban
We see
phases?
this.
The Penny was banned out against RAD, but it was the Ultron that was banned out against over Ultra Gaming, potentially why they didn't want to pick the Penny, as that upgraded ult is so effective at getting a huge amount of damage bonus and healing for your team. So if we do go to a Museum of Contemplation, where a triple Vanguard, triple Strategist, zero Duelist setup has
Damn.
been so effective for some of these teams, do we start to see that targeted out, and what could that open up for these teams?
So it does mean that really for
Damn,
RAD, it was
Silky spent
protect
not 10
onto
hours
the
watching
Ultron
me?
that
That's
really was
crazy.
game-changing
Really was.
here. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been able to play that kind of composition. As we take a look at the stats, anything that stands out to you, apart from the obvious, you look at the big numbers and they go
That's not
boom
it.
here.
Well, despite Illicit being one of the most aggressive and effective players for this team, they were marked. I don't know if it's just Crazy Kitty having the instincts to really pick them off, or the fact that Mash only went down 2 times because he was constantly
it's
able to
Agent
freeze
double
and catch
O.
people who came for that backline, but Illicit was taken down 11 times along with Taro Cookie here. But the difference is, while Taro Cookie was taken down due to the dive at the front line of RAD, Illicit was picked off while trying to get value in the back line of RAD by going for these flanking positions. on these
W,
dive characters.
watch
I think
time,
we'll learn a lot
Rogaine.
from this
Rogaine
OUG
spent
team as
0
well,
seconds
because I think
watching
they will be a
J3.
little bit
Hey,
flustered about how they threw that one away. As we move over to Midtown, by the way, I love Midtown, so I'm excited for this one. The initial point, again, is another opportunity for Penny to come into the fray.
What's another person?
You've probably seen it in all of your games at
Watch
home
this
as
chat,
well.
ready? Bang.
So we'll see what they've got cooking here.
Midtown is also
Nate Shot spent 4 hours and 20 minutes watching. Wow, that's a great...
Did decide to bring out a Blade during previous seasons. They've also brought out Widow pre-nerf to just try and snipe down from range on that first point. There is a lot of flexibility here, and this is where Ultra Gaming have traditionally brought teams along with Heart of Heaven to try and catch them off guard, including from mid-season and global finals last year. This is their opportunity to try and bring it back. They're exactly where they want to be.
Yo, Jay, I need help. What's up?
Happen?
You do need something in your back pocket here when you're trying to break that initial push, because whether it's a Wolverine, a Blade, like you say, you can just get forced back over and over again, here on Midtown. So let's hope, because it is OUG's choice, they will have the possibility to break, because they're going to be the ones who are going to be attacking first here as well. As we go into the lock-in ban phase, and by the Lords, we have Mantis taken away first.
I could not have possibly seen this coming, Gaskin. But
damn,
what
0
is also
seconds.
Very predictable is going to be that Magneto going to be protected. Over Ultra Gaming, they don't have the potential to secure it one-sided, as RAD will get a protect before the next ban of Over Ultra Gaming, as we see Loki taken off the board before any Adams, because it gives value to Adam and also Gambit.
Look at Cozy. What happened? Was Cozy in my chat?
If you have one of something that you like, why not two of it?
I am very happy that, as the God of Mischief, he really has been able to find his place in Marvel Rivals as a very mischievous character indeed, because you can't allow him to go through. How many times have we seen Loki get through today and just run the show for the most part, as it is going to be banned on both sides for good reason. Neither wanted to give up the Magneto either, and again, we've seen the one-sided Magnetos. You just can't let it happen.
Adam Warlock taken out by RAD, removing the hyper defense style from Over Ultra Gaming.
Let's see if this works.
And secure it one-sided, so if you want that hyper defense, they currently have the option to do so. And of course, Ultron's still available, Penny is still available, but the thing will be taken away. Over Ultra Gaming not wanting to deal with the brawl.
Who's another big streamer?
Go with here, because there's quite a few amazing heroes that are still available, the likes of Ultron, as you mentioned, the likes of Penny, the likes of Gambit as well, that they could try and take away. And what hurts RAD more? They've gone for the Gambit in the end. And OUG say, look, we don't want to allow that to be able to just flood through too much with the extra damage provided. They will get a lock here before RAD get their final ban.
This is where all the pressure comes on in for OUG. They don't choose to remove the Ultron with that Adam team up. They choose to take out the Gam. They choose to
chat, focus up, bro. Focus up. We're on the second game, guys. Focus up.
Magneto, Gambit, team up. RAD, though, one last secure. If they have the Adam, they want to remove the Storm Break, and it is going to be Storm removed from the board. It's what a lot of teams have been resorting to deal with Adam's sustain comms. Might as well take it out, but RAD just got given the entire comp that we've been considering meta. They have Penny, they have the Ultron, they have Adam, they have essentially everything they could possibly need if they choose to go that direction. Whereas OUG, they just have some very safe frontline here with the Magneto, and of course, that Gambit Raging Roar Flash.
I copied someone's homework.
Key factor is Rocket is still available on both sides.
Okay,
as well.
chat, stop spamming, stop spamming, stop spamming. Focus up, chat, focus up. Wait, Marvel Rivals spent 8 hours and 40 minutes watching J3? Wait, Marvel Rivals watches my stream?
Side of things is now RAD.
What?
Can they defend successfully? How many times have we been here at Midtown and watched a team completely dominate in the opening stages here and not allow them to
chat,
get
lock it in,
to
bro.
this first point?
This is the map along with Spider Islands where we really started to see teams go for the most aggressive holds they possibly could, including putting Penny Nest in front of doors sometimes, but we're not going to be seeing that this time. While RAD do have access to the Adam, they instead choose to secure themselves with the Rocket for that Battle Rebirth Beacon and the Invisible Woman for the damage bonus with the Torch team up on her barrier, and of course their front line is going to be as sustainy as possible. They think they might just get taken down here. They'd rather just delay as long as they can.
So attention turns to Illicit then on the Wolverine. It's against a trip, so can you take one of those Vanguards out and give yourself such a huge advantage on your push? It's a lot of pressure to be put on you, but Wolverine players often will find a way, get that angle, get the steal, and then as long as you get the slam dunk, you can find yourself with a huge advantage in the next fight.
Cookie building up towards a Kraken impact. Looks for Bionic Cook will not find much, but it's still piling on the pressure, building ult charge. Those multiple voltages is giving them a lot of pressure.
Oh, come on, bro. You got to hit your shots, man. You got to hit your shots. You're literally playing for your playoff life right now. You have to hit your shots.
Even with the walls being put behind them, they're not getting caught.
You got to hit your shots, bro. Come on, Taro Cookie. You're better than that.
Said, they're still building up these ults, and again, if you can delay this neutral enough that you win the ult race, but we know that the Invisible Woman is a part of this, and sometimes that invisible boundary is just there quicker than anything else. It's going to be a race between that and the Seer with OUG.
Mash already built up to 90%, and an engage attempt onto Ducky, but they're able to get to the stain thanks to that bubble from Crazy Kitty, who is playing this Magneto. Can't Amplify going to be dropped immediately. That invisible boundary from Mash. And Smash Des pulls on back. They know they can hold on to there. Oh, Kraken impact into the boundary. A very heavy commitment from
he missed his ult.
Not finding the reset, but they will find that Raging Royal Flush for the hyper commitment with the clobbering time to try and lock them down. But the shielding is good. Ducky's dropping low, but tanks on through for a couple more seconds, but finally goes down thanks to that feral lead.
I mean, so much damage from OUG. Ducky was within the invisible boundary when he first went down. They were still able to just pile on that pressure, and even with the BRB, Rad couldn't hold on. So that is job one done then here for OUG.
I mean, to be honest with you, look at the ult difference, though.
Here for Rad, where they
OUG just had to use all their ults. Bro, Rad is coming back with 4 ults.
They do not have that Wolverine ult available, but they can still remove people from the point to keep this push going. Meteor M at the ready for Wen Shuyan.
Why is Crazy Kitty on tank? Because, chat, it's a very common tactic to go 3 tanks, 3 supports for stall.
Meaning it's all about shooting them 1 at a time or 2 at a time if they want to lock people down with struggling for them, or that side of seduction, which is going to be dropped first. Meteor M has a potential follow-up if they catch enough members, but great!
Oh, huge walls!
Position here, not fighting them, trying to just trap people off the point. Meteor M to the back line.
From his own group. Huge walls from his own group.
Cooldowns, but overall for Gaming, we're able to evade beautifully.
Burned a lot, but they did also see the responses from OUG, and now they have nothing left, and still the Karmic Revival left for Rad here on the flip side. You are going to see the BRB onto the side of Crazy Kitty as well, as Rad will still stay as a 6 now, as OUG have the Kraken impact to use from Taro at the same time, but look at what's available for Rad. They have plenty of answers on their side.
Soul Bond's going to be utilized to make sure that the team can stay topped up. Vertigo has the res, an invisible boundary at the ready. Taro Cookie, if they want to crack an impact, it might be worth waiting for Disaster, who's about to hit that Cosmic Yarn Amplifier. If they can get the damage bonus, which here it comes, Yarn Amplifier, crack an impact into boundary.
Wow, I'm actually really surprised they use Invis before they use the res.
Goes down, comes back to the Battle Rebirth Beacon, but that's no reset.
Don't you? Wouldn't you rather use
Meteor M from Crazy Kitty? And by the way, the positioning from Vertigo right now to make sure he stays just far enough away in case they need that Karmic Revival.
He's got a good position set up, but Crazy Kitty is getting focused down here. Dropped so low, but tags on through.
Oh, chat, look at Adam. Look at Adam Warlock. He can't get his ult off because he had someone on him, bro. You have to do a better job at hiding than that.
They will.
Just as I was complimenting his positioning, Vertigo cannot get the Karmic Revival off. Massive chance now for OUG off this push. 2 minutes 40, still left to try and get to point number 2. A successful break in the end, and Rad will be very frustrated they weren't able to use that one.
Yeah, Adam has been abandoned, but the Ultron will still make an appearance. They're just going to go for a classic triple strategist. They can still have the unupgraded team buff, of course, and it looks like they'll abandon it. They were thinking about it, but Crazy Kitty, they think that they can maybe try and pick off some backliners with that Black Cat.
This is what the people wanted to see. Crazy Kitty on the Black Cat. There's been so much noise about it. Murmurs around the arena of just possibly the best Black Cat in the game right now. Well, Crazy Kitty, show us what you can do on the Black Cat, because this could be the difference maker.
Here comes the last stand from Illicit. Grabs 2 immediately off the board as Wen Shuyan coming in with the Meteor M40 attempt at the follow-up, trying to chase down the backliners.
Oh!
Back, but finds nothing.
What a block by Lugia.
From Rocket as Crazy Kitty not finding a lot yet, but it's causing a lot of pressure. Helm of Hades doing some great work at keeping them zoned as Ducky is focused down for a second time in one fight. Goes down, but he's able to find Wen Shuyan for the trade.
Yeah, and Rad just haven't been able to stabilize here. OUG have been able to bully them time and time again, and now they are very close to this point. Of course, you can quickly rush there if you are Rad, but you need to try and find that stabilization. The staggering is huge here.
Darrow's getting a lot of pressure onto the board here. Like you said, taking people down one at a time with a huge set of stagger here. Down goes Vertigo. Mash has the boundary, but at this point, it might just be worth the sacrifice. Kitty's just going to get taken down so they can rejoin their team. As over Ultra Gaming, as usual, show their
How's my bulking doing? How you doing, my friend? I'm doing pretty good. We're doing pretty good. 11 hours almost watched of MRI. Pretty good. Some good games today.
So instead, they have to back off.
I think some games are going to be better tomorrow.
And then hope that maybe they can do this a little bit faster on the flip side. There's plenty of ults to work with on the side of RAD, but again, this Wolverine has been doing some damage.
Trying to look for a setup, an opportunity to maybe grab someone if they step out of position. Sfold is built up to that Raging Royal Flush. This isn't going to give them a chance to try and counter it. The boundary is available though, and will try and keep them topped up as Ninja is focused down hard, is out of there, just literally fleeing the fight to make sure that they are still available for their team. As over Ultra Gaming is going to go for a reset up. Crazy Kitty has a fan in the black cat, is back on the storm. Smash this goes down.
My God,
that's... Media Ebb looks for a target, sends it to the
that was a nice shot.
Catch someone on the return, but finds
a game start at 1 p.m. EST. Always.
You're going to have to see someone do something special. Clobbering time maybe could be it, as now Hurricane going to be there from Crazy Kitty as well.
Mega Hurricane into the backline, McCracken Impact going to be dropped on top of the rest of the team. Atakuki goes down, another reset is denied, and Crazy Kitty sets up for the team beautifully. That's going to be a triple, make it a quadruple. Illicit is trying to flee, but they will be able to get out. The rest of their team will not be so lucky. It's a reset at over Ultra Gaming. And now
you know something I noticed as well? They don't do a lot of listen-ins. They've done like 2 listen-ins today, chat. If they have the technology for listen-ins, I don't know why they don't do it more often.
Been able to be used from OUG, so they will still have it in this next push-up. And there's very little to work with on Radus apart from that Seer right now, which could be enough. If you can get that Seer down after the clobbering time, it might just keep you alive and allow you to apply that extra pressure off the back of it.
Kitty sitting in damage bonus. Last stand, Illicit grabs a beautiful isolation, and Lugia is surrounded by people exactly where he doesn't want to be when they're there.
Comms are so fun to listen to as like a viewer, bro. You listen to the passion. You listen. It's just. It's nice. You listen to the emotion.
When Shuyen looked like they were about to fall, but the Rebirth Beacon is going to bring them back, and the spawn point is close for RAD, so they rush back in. Here comes the Raging Royal Flush to the back, and try and burst on down. Aggressive play by Spawn, looking for a blow-up, as that is an insane pickup over Ultra Gaming. They cruise onto that final point, as RAD hit everything to try and delay it.
It will be delayed as well from this invisible boundary into the Kraken Impact, and Smash connects with the first, and now you can start to slam home to try and keep your hopes alive of denying this 3.
Nice, you got the reset. Keep going, bro. Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. There's 6 seconds left. Keep going, keep going. Yes. Yes. Keep it going. Keep it going. Yes. Yes. Keep it going. Yeah.
Kraken Impact does not allow, but they're able to get the pressure on to try and remove them before the overtime comes on in. It's enough. That pickup was so important, Gaskin.
I mean, a good
nice. That's a good push, though.
Lobby, and we saw a fantastic hold to just finish us off here and deny the 3.
Also, you guys are saying they don't want to do listen-ins because they might hear slurs. Chat.
Because we've seen RAD before. They can get such quick pushes on these maps.
That's not true at all. And second of all, if that is true, that pro shouldn't even be a pro to begin with.
Storm available, right? They have the solo Storm to work with. They have it on the one side, so if they want to, they can use it to try and break here initially. Where OUG lost a lot of time on the first point, maybe RAD can get it on their side.
Crazy Kitty has had a little bit of a rough game in terms of statistics. You can see here, only 2 final hits while going down 6
times. Taro Cookie's like carrying right now.
Look at the damage block, and you look at the
I mean, he is playing Bucky, the final hit
have been able to create
farmer, but
openings, especially in that final fight.
Doing pretty good.
Now is their time to pad those stats. Time to push out, time to do damage, time to try and break over Ultra Gaming.
Well, Kitty was still playing a vital part as well. The switch over to Black Cat didn't necessarily find the success they were looking for, but it did make OUG question their backline.
Also, Mash with 30,000 healing is crazy.
Again, add to that clock in the favor of RAD. But now, as you mentioned, this is a chance for Crazy Kitty to really show us what he can do on Storm, pushing forward here to try and break this one quickly. On the side of OUG, for their defense is going to be very different because of the bans. They don't have the Adam. They don't, of course, have that Storm. No Loki, no Mantis, obviously.
Jay would never survive any other pro scene with that take.
They're going to be sitting out with a 3-1-2.
What, saying that pros shouldn't slur, and if they do, they probably wouldn't be a pro anymore?
The Benjamin Grimm, the thing,
you think
Emma Frost. This gives them a very
That's
hefty front line,
crazy.
but with a little bit more brawl potential with that thing. This
That
could
is
give them
crazy.
some dive and the potential to try and
Yeah,
stop
sure,
RAD
bud.
if they go for a backline flanker. But RAD, they want to front to back it. They've
That's
got the
YouTube chat.
Punisher.
I mean, to
There's
be
gonna
honest
some
with you, I
damage
don't really
boost from
expect much
Crazy
from
Kitty
YouTube
to try
chat,
and
but
get
that was a
Smashness
take.
to build up ult charge as quick as possible. In the meantime, Mash and Vertigo keep the team topped up. As Fox is building charge. Great pickup from Taro.
I think that guy's
though,
self-reported,
who is
yeah.
continuing to just show how good they are on this Winter Soldier.
It's a huge grab. I was about to compliment the positioning from Crazy Kitty, using that cart to their advantage, just hiding around, not going too high up in the sky as so many Storms do, and they just reveal themselves and give themselves too much of a disadvantage to the likes of a Bucky. But Taro's still finding that pick, which now will give them the chance to try and deny RAD this opening push.
A very good setup so far from Over Ultra Gaming. RAD are still making their way onto the point. Brute Walls proving a little bit of a nuisance, but for now, Taro Cookie's positioning is very safe. Not yet assailable, especially with the amount of damage Ninja's putting out with Illicit taken down, coming back on the Doctor Strange. Ninja getting dropped low. Healing output is being thrown out as best as they can. They have the Raging Royal Flush, which they will drop before Illicit returns to the point, just to make sure they get the momentum, and it comes up beautifully. Boundary will get dropped, even without
Oh,
Smash.
no, Mash, bro.
Mash goes down, boundary picked off. It's going to be cancelled. The reboot
Oh.
back, but Taro Cookie is sending them home.
And this is a demonstration of why it is so important to have someone who has mastered Bucky in your team, as now Kraken Impact can be there as well. If you would like to use it, it seems like a little bit of a waste in the end, but it was just in case anyone pushed around. 2 minutes and 14 seconds left on the clock then for RAD. It is a successful hold so far from OUG, and perhaps this is why they took themselves over towards mid-town.
This is where they have been comfortable. We've seen them do some weird stuff here before, but right now it's just standard. Front to back, do as much damage as you can, build up those ultimates, especially on Disaster at Fault, and get as much delay as you
I like
can.
how
But now,
whoever
they
is
reset, Brad gets
spectating
momentum, and they
left
are
their
about to have
cursor
an
right on in the
incredible
middle of the
setup
map.
here. Ninja
Right in the middle of the
comes on
screen.
immediately by Crazy Kitty. Visible boundary's going to be coming on in, but Smashness pushes forward with that final judgment. It's taken down though by Fault, who continues the duel. Immediately comes the
J3, move the cursor. Chat, that's not me, bro. That's not
but
me.
It's enough to take out Svold and Taro Cookie. No portal available, meaning this is basically just throwing bodies at the point to delay. Illicit gonna get juggled here, picked off before they can even ult.
Yeah, and Illicit switching over to that Strange early, of course, means the deny of the portal, but there will be Eye of Agamotto on the return if they can stabilize on their journey. They are going to try and push this one to stop it getting to the ambulance, as RAD now, they've run out of ults, but I don't know if they're going to get it. They will, it's just not quick enough for OUG. Enough pressure was applied by RAD, so the job has been done, and OUG have to back up.
Bucky Wall keeping Ninja away from the point, immediately returning to their team with the embattled leap.
I didn't see it until you mentioned something. Bro, how can you not see the cursor in the middle of the screen, guys? What are you looking at? You looking at Punisher's ass?
As Illicit tries to go on in.
That's probably why you guys are missing a lot of shots in your ranked game, because you guys are not looking at your cursor, bro.
To try and get some damage onto the
You guys do realize the cursor is where you're aiming, right?
Do not get out, isolate from their healers, and RAD have suddenly got all the momentum in the world.
Great peeling, though, from RAD to deny that initial KO from the Daredevil, just making sure Smash stays alive, because Smash has a very important role here, and it is bully Thing. Get as much damage as you can onto that Vanguard and deny Thing's presence from essentially bullying you on the other side. Speaking of Thing, there is going to be a clobbering time available for Ninja in this next engagement if they would like to use it. Taro also has the Kraken Impact to work with as well. Alongside Raging Royal Flush, they should win this fight.
Standing up, Raging Royal Flush is going to find absolutely everyone spawned into the backline. It's deleting Crazy Kitty. Smash their falls. Mash was the first person to fall, brought back at the BRB, but there's no one left to heal. Gonna try and retreat. Rocket chased away from the point. It looks like the strategist may live here, but that is over.
I think it's the blue spectator.
Taking full control back in the subway.
And remember,
The blue spectator has the cursor.
Had been able to push this second
Watch.
so much
Watch what happens when we go back to the
Rad
blue
did.
team.
And Svald is a great example of just how to play Gambit as well. Being aggressive at the right time. A strategist, sure, can also output so much damage alongside that Raging Royal Flush. As now our eyes turn back towards RAD and their push. Smash does have Final Judgment to walk in with, but you need someone to pocket you.
Devil has been unleashed as Elizabeth to the backline, but Fold has picked off
Nice shots. Oh, OUG, bro. OUG. Okay.
They are dominating these fights so
Hey, yo,
far.
OUG
Brad
might take
are
us to
running
a,
out of
you know,
time here.
take
1
us all the
minute and
way.
40 seconds, but they do have that final judgment. Vertigo has swapped over to the Cloak and Dagger.
Oh, I think they heard us.
They changed their mind. They're going to keep with the rocket. They need to keep
chat, look what you
fight,
guys did.
and with that
Look what
Daredevil
you guys
on the board,
did.
people are being picked off.
Strangling Prison, Final Judgment, and the Omega Hurricane is a fantastic combo, but there is an invisible boundary on the other side to counter it, so If OUG can time this one correctly and kind of suss out what RAD want to do, perhaps they can stabilize and deny this second point.
A lot of pressure onto the point. Crazy Kitty keeping the high ground up. Meteor M's going to be sent out by Wen Shuyan into the backline. A lot of damage.
Oh, poor Mash, bro.
The board. A Mega Hurricane going to be dropped. Crazy Kitty trying to take out some of the strategies with the healing output and that bonus. The extra armor from the embattled leaf of Ninja is enough to help them take him down. Crazy Kitty will be returned at the Battle Rebirth Beacon after falling. And RAD, they're starting to run low on the time. As we've already said, there are 48 seconds here.
See plus Final Judgment now available for RAD. It's the wombo combo that we all know and love, but do you want to use it? Do you need to lose it? Because at the moment, they are still applying this pressure. Plenty of ults being built up elsewhere. Invisible Boundary still here for OUG as a response too.
It's going to be the Ranger Royal Flush that is first, though. Smash this just as they drop their ultimate. It's enough to take down Taro Cookie, preventing that Kraken impact from finding resets, and the front, back, and every single line of over Ultra Gaming.
They have another recontest. Not he's switching. He's switching. Oh, don't die here. If you die, that's bad. Nice, good survivability. They're trying to wall. Do they? Oh, huge!
But they can't get through.
Huge!
As the second point is found here from RAD.
That's why we love Fortnite, chat. That's why we love building walls here.
They don't need a triple, they just need to reach the end. It's essentially
that was a huge wall, bro. Huge.
They need something special here, and they
good shit by Ducky.
that the Psionic Assassin is what it is.
There was more time for OUG at this point. We have to remember that. RAD still have a lot to do. We saw how difficult it was for OUG to get through that final choke, and RAD will face the same kind of struggles. I like to switch over to Psylocke as well. We know how the Dance of the Butterfly can impact some of these end games, and perhaps if you can build up quick enough, maybe, just maybe, could be the difference maker.
It's a lot of ult charge, especially on something like a Groove, which is why Lukiko has moved over to the Venom for a little bit of extra pressure onto the board here as Mash's Invisible Boundary isn't enough to keep Smash Des topped up as Disasters works out a little bit better here. We can see Ninja trying to chase down the aggressive members. Ducky falls over Ultra Gaming, find themselves in a similar situation to RAD by sending them back to spawn.
Sent back to spawn, and not much time to work with here, Tech. RAD now need to kind of look towards who is going to be the difference maker coming off spawn here, because they don't have much in terms of ult economy. Crazy Kitty on Daredevil, can you get that pick just to give you the advantage?
They're about to have let the devil out, but they don't have a lot of time to use it. 20 seconds. They are luckily very close to spawn, like you did say, meaning that if anyone goes down, they can try and swap to Rocket for reses. They can try and swap to Adam for the Soul Bunk as they come on in. Does the Butterfly at the ready as BDM's going to come out as is Raging Royal Flush. Over Ultra Gaming with 10 seconds on the board. Say hit all the buttons. Crazy Kitty goes down. Vertigo falls. Mash is trying to keep the team because they need to make sure they have bodies onto the point, or it's going to be a very quick win for Over Ultra Gaming in this next map. Clock break time comes on out to try and force them off the board, but it's a lot of pressure to the backline. As you get balls, crack an impact to try and burst them off the wall, push them off the
oh my god, they're doing it, they're doing it, they're doing it. Oh my god, they're doing it, and this is really bad. This is really bad for OUG, chat, because look at your top right. They got nothing. Where's my cursor? Where's my cursor at? Right here. They have nothing. They have nothing. RAD has both support ults. They got to play a little slow, build both support ults. They have Smash Nez, they have Ducky, and they have Lugia. Bro, it's GG's. RAD wins this because of ult charge. If RAD doesn't win this, I'm going to get naked on stream.
They have 3 ultimates compared to Over Ultra Gaming. 0. Push comes in, but they can't step off the point. They just lost another little sliver. Here come the Wolves to try and separate out that Benjamin Grimm. If they can remove the thing from the board, that's one of the best characters who could be staying on this point. Be so careful.
Bro, just pop a support ult and go. Pop a support ult. Pop your ults, guys. It's GG's. Pop your ults. Wait, they deflected his Groot. They deflected his Groot ult.
Smashness sends out the glass trucks. Able to get a little bit of
it's GG's. Yeah, GG's. They still have Luna too. They still have Luna. She's just gonna dance on point. Wow. OUG played that map really good, but they lost because of their ult economy, bro.
Just went nasty on the Elsa.
OUG could have won that, but they messed up their ult economy, bro.
And even though one of the best duelists that you can have in the game doesn't always go the right way, but Smash demonstrates when in the right hands can just be what sends you over the finish line, and it will put RAD at 2-0 up in this series. When OUG, they looked so good. It looked like they had it. They used absolutely everything in what we thought was going to be the final fight, but in the end, it is just someone clutching up on the side of RAD.
It's so close in these fights. This was the over Ultra Gaming we saw in that first round of domination, and they took us all the way to the limit. But like you said, it was just those last few fights, those last few pickups from RAD where they were able to find exactly what they needed. Let's break this down over at the analyst desk. Take it away, Cozy.
I can't believe that. Okay, chat, give me a second. I gotta go to the bathroom.
Get full Sin, full Infinity War, and still not enough to stop RAD, and that has kind of been what we've been seeing here at their first LAN. I mean, from Taro Cookie having 22 finals to Wen Xin being an incredible Magneto, it wasn't enough. And right, I mean, we talk about this all the time. You have to have the comms to say, okay, everybody go, last fight. But guess what? Then the ult economy flipped completely and Smash was Smash.
Yeah, it sort of looked like you've got the Meteor M that you're sort of bullying in position fall, but then we were watching it sort of from Ducky's POV, and it was just like this gauntlet of like OUG players in front of the payload, and it's just an easy smash across from the Vanguards to actually push in. That really feels like that should be a map going to OUG. I don't think you're going to get a better opportunity to actually pick up a map and make this a really much more competitive best of 5.
And Vaughn, it felt like, I mean, in like ranked games, where it's like, okay, not everyone needs to press Q, right? Like, there's just a couple of combos that can get the job done, and it was full Sin from Gambit to Winter Soldier. Magneto didn't get their hit. I mean, they used everything, because I think they even thought the match was done.
They were like bulls who saw red, even though that's a faux pas, but even then, they just went full send, and unfortunately, they didn't coordinate as best as they could have, and that's been an issue that we've seen for over Ultra Gaming a couple of times in these matches, from Swamp Gaming to here, and even in Celestial Husk, like we saw, took the first point pretty confidently, didn't really get much percentage after that. So OUG, they're so close, just not there quite yet.
Honestly, stereotypes is a hell of a thing, but both teams fitting what we thought going in here. OUG just continue, and Iconics as well. If you look at both the China's team, it's like they're able to really have a show and put on a show, but it's not enough because then the little ult gets hit by the mag, right? Like the show ends early. We saw that in Dom, zone 1, 2 in a row out. Here, beautiful display. Stat-wise, Rai, OUG won.
Yeah, I mean, when you got like Taro Cookie getting 22 final hits like you mentioned and 40, almost 50K's worth of damage, that head-to-head against Smashness is looking good, but Smashness is 2 MVPs out of the 2 maps that we've seen so far. Like, he was looking a little bit like out of the server against like 100 Thieves in like play-ins yesterday, but now he's really starting to show up, and, you know, Taro Cookie's having those moments. There's some glimmers of it from Illicit, but there's a lot of times, I think he tries to go for the flanks, and RAD is such a, I mean, they have a really good melee play themselves, so they know how to play around it. As soon as Illicit's behind him in the backline, 3 players from RAD turn around and deal with him. Like, there's no chance for Illicit to get set up with a dive because he just gets isolated and picked off on his own. So he's just trying to, like, show up for his new team to make sure that he's also getting as involved as everybody else.
I will. That's a good point. I mean, Vaughn,
yeah,
I'm pretty sure Smash is like a fine glass of wine. Just getting better the more it's aging here through the land, because it was a good point. I mean, and sticking more to the Elsa, I feel like obviously the Widow was where we saw some of that struggle against like Thieves. The Elsa's been top.
I think it's very good against the front line that we see for OUG as well. I mean, how strong the mag is, how strong the thing is too. Just able to do so much damage with the Monster Piercer. And yeah, the Glartroxes weren't as good as we would have liked, but look at that damage, 35,000. Crazy Kitty as well, doing a great job too.
Mash with 55K heals too is absolutely wild. Honestly, Ryan, one thing I want to say is I've heard so much about Crazy Kitty and the aggressiveness of RAD, but I was not prepared for the patience this team had. I mean, going back to yesterday, Ducky had like a Groot ult forever, and same thing here. It just feels like they're saving everything for the right opportunity. A team that's aggressive but also patient is a recipe for success.
Yeah, I think the Vanguards are feeling a lot more comfortable as well, because I think Ducky and Lugia was a bit like teething issues to get there, but thinking of stuff like Ducky blocking off the teleport wall, which you could just immediately tell through OUG off just enough for them. And certainly when it was getting into overtime, OUG having to put the thing on the point, it's just easy for Ducky to slam a wall in behind him, separate that line of sight from the strategists, so there's no healing coming in, and all of those players that need to stall from OUG just don't get the sustain in order to keep these fights going. Going to Central Park, though, so we're not really going too far away, like, on the maps.
Central Park,
I guess something that's not really gone well for RAD at all. It's like 4 losses in a row, but it is a common map that they do like to pick, right, Vod?
Yeah, it really much is, and I think it's a good map for Groot, too. So if you're OUG, you got to get rid of Ducky's Groot. He seems to be one of the best in the game, especially at this LAN, continues to get better better, as we said, with Wine, ages as they go along and continues to improve. So we'll see if RAD can continue this fire that they have lit underneath themselves, going from the last series yesterday to the last series today. Yeah. They must be tired, but hey, they're still locking in.
For sure. And to speak on OUG again, they won a stat war, and I think Disaster staying alive, maybe a disaster. What happened there, it was just one team fight, but did not get eliminated a ton. That was a big recipe for success. But on top of that, when Shein, we need to see the mag that we saw.
Hey, appreciate it, ABG1140. Appreciate it.
At least can come away with some confidence. Like,
yo, J3, I have a genuine question. How RAD went to next stage and 100 Thieves not?
Also for RAD,
100 Thieves won RAD, by the way. They both made it to the next stage, but 100 Thieves just lost their last game. If RAD loses this, they're out of the tournament too.
Probably for the rest of the event.
This is the lower bracket, chat. Loser goes home.
Anomalies, but yeah, you can have the Magneto there.
Type exclamation mark MRI if you guys want to see the bracket.
It's probably going to be the same as the other Mantis, Loki, Magneto, like either side. But it does open the map a little bit more for stuff like Daredevil. If Illicit's attacking first, he can go for those sort of flanks.
Yes, Shira.
Black Cat can be opened up a lot more. But also RAD can play some sort of flyers. We saw Storm looking really good, so I'm sure Shikigami are at home wishing they could play their comp here.
You know what RAD can play here? They can play Penny Ultron, and we might see that come out again. I mean, especially the first point, right? Penny's domain specifically.
Yes, this is the last game of the day, chat.
For the res. That's why you see the Loki bans come out here, because they know that's an option for these teams.
One of the things I love as we see Gambit will not be folding, gentlemen, as both are going to be banned. Is Central Park is one of those very unique maps that you get some heroes that creep in that you might not see in some other maps at play. Love the thing save here from OUG. Kind of complements the playstyle, as we've continued to say. And listen, I mean, to break into Dracula's Fortress and make this thing competitive at a 2-1, they're going to need every bit of that fist and firepower. Daredevil on the other side.
I like this one, Ryan. I mean, making sure that they can target Illicit. They can't go for the flanks. They don't have the vision, especially if they're going to be playing some Black Cat that hasn't been banned yet.
And yeah, maybe it does force him to play stuff like the Wolverine, which like isn't looking as good for Illicit. He had some good ways. He was isolating Lugia with the ultimates and stuff, but it's not a bad map for Wolverine.
Hey, appreciate it, real Khaled.
Like
also, it does look like the coach can still talk to the team during the ban phase.
But also for RAD, right?
But maybe they can't talk to the team during the actual match, is what I'm noticing.
Ducky and Lugia, both
a lot of people were asking that question.
Still, the Groot is on the table if they need to flex to it. So OUG has one last ban, and this is going to have to count.
Yeah, I mean, if they go for the cheese, okay, so Adam Warlock off the table, and you know what? Just keep it. And we've saw this a little bit from teams before. It's like, get some meta stuff rolling, get the cheese out, and then just, hey, if it was a stat game last time, well, show it again. And speaking of again, we're going to see plenty of Winter Soldier and our casters again. Tetra Gaskin, wrap this baby up. We got another match here in New York.
Cozy talking about letting the cheese out, and I honestly think that might be a good call, as we're going to be heading on in to Central Park. And we're immediately going to
predictions are at the beginning of the match.
While they do have access to the Atom, they have access to the Ultron, and they
you are
have
late. I'm sorry. I do it for the whole match. I don't do it for each like map.
Get down and make sure you protect yourself.
Oh my God, that's a name I haven't seen in a hot minute. Jordan Fisher, how you doing, my friend?
It would be such a huge confidence lift for them if they can deny RAD even taking this first point. That's easier said than done.
How are you doing? I haven't seen you in a hot minute.
It looks like they're going to utilize that Storm once
Hey, appreciate trash cans.
Through Storm plus the Sia plus the Bucky. There's a lot of options there for RAD to work with.
Hope life's treating you well.
One-sided Adam, of course, so they have to make it count here on defense.
Overwatch Gaming, it is
how you doing? How you doing? I think the last time I talked to you is when I tried to hit you up to see if Complexity is looking for a streamer on Twitter. Hey, you're gaming again and you're addicted to Rivals. Well, you can ask chat. We dabble a little bit in Marvel Rivals ourselves.
Force people out of this right-hand room. There's a lot of pressure being given here, which is, in fact, going to force Taro Cookie to retreat from the point here, allowing Crazy Kitty to take control and utilizing that Invisible Woman with Human Torch team up. They're getting a lot of extra damage.
Hey, WW, really? That's awesome.
OUG have been able to force them back off of point, and that Spider Nest still there and still a problem, but Crazy Kitty,
if you ever hit me up on Twitter if you ever want to play again, or I don't know if I have your Discord, but yeah, hit me up.
Pulling the back in. Ducky gets another, the Atom has gone down, and OUG are fumbling.
Disaster is gone.
Oh
They
shit,
can
the camera.
Cocoon
Yeah, my
bring
bad,
it
chat.
back, but do they want to? Yes, they are going to commit to this. Taro Cookie's going to portal in, has to wait for the map to get out the way, but he is going to make sure that they can keep it with 6 people onto the point as the Cosmic Yarn Amplifier will come out from Vertigo. Committing to trying to take this fight, finishes Ninja off the point. Disaster is very far
Do I have you on Discord?
Economic revival, and fantastic group walls from Ducky, preventing so much of the value of that Rage of Voltron, preventing all the healing, all the damage.
Do I have you added on Discord?
Gaming are cleaned off the point. RAD already going to be moving on.
Hey, Jay3, thank you for streaming MRI. Me and my friend are on a call, and we've been watching your stream for hours. Hey, W, my friend. W. Yeah, man, I love co-streaming MRI. It's been, I'm going to be honest with you guys, it's been 11 hours. I'm a little tired at this point, but tomorrow I'll have more energy.
Even team topped up already has an invisible.
But I appreciate you guys. Appreciate you guys being here, chat. Love you guys. Everyone subbing, following the stream. Appreciate it, guys.
Fate of both worlds not going to be enough to keep them topped up, but that was dropped with no need for RAD to mirror. They were able to keep all their defensive tools, and now with that expiry, Crazy Kitty with the Hurricane pushing on it to try and take out the backlines. Falls, and they look for the duel, but they are going to get.
That guy just used his whole ult on that guy, and that guy just stood. He just stood still.
Off the back of it, but not gonna
Tomorrow
get to
it starts
use
at 1.
You get shut down immediately by Ducky, and RAD continue to aggressively find themselves pushing forward here. OUG, you're gonna have to rethink this one. They are gonna have time to re-engage one more time. There are still plenty of ults to use for the side of RAD. That invisible boundary is going to be difficult to break through from OUG.
Second point is incredibly open, so Hela was a fantastic choice from Smashness, able to track down that Ultron, so Illicit is swapped over to the Black Cat. They need to make sure they can put some pressure onto it, and is already trying to get some value. Again, Ducky, though, is creating openings and cutting them off the approach. The Smashness is finding every single head in the building.
Chat, just as a heads up, this is OUG's map pick, and I do think that this game might be over, and we all might be going to bed right now.
The ult available to them as well. They've been able to get that second point so comfortably. 4 minutes and 48 left on the clock. RAD are on a rampage towards victory here. Yes, OUG do have ults to reply on their side, but RAD look like they don't plan on slowing down anytime soon.
Crazy Kitty back onto that Daredevil, because now they have moved out of that wide open space and they've moved into a tight enclosed one, so that vision is extra important. Smashness will stay on the Hela, at least for now, as they do have Ultimate, the Goddess of Death, for their potential early setup. Boundary is forced out as Overwatch Gaming go for a nice aggressive play.
I do think Illicit is a former Overwatch League pro, if I'm not mistaken, as well. There's a lot of former Overwatch League pros that are in Marvel Rivals, especially with, what's that team, Virtus Pro. You see a lot of...
Goes down, but still will have it off the spawn.
We're seeing most of RAD falling down. The damage boost from that amplifier was fantastic. And overall, Ultra Gaming, not only did they get the cleanups there, they also built ult charge. While they did lose that amplifier, they now have Kraken impact. They now have that clobbering time, and they are very close to Illicit grabbing their ult as well.
As someone who mained Hela for quite some time, I am very much excited.
Do you like the new DD drop? I do think they're doing better at the drops, but I think they could have made. Wow, he used his ult to get away. They could have made better drops, in my opinion. Like, there's only one skin, isn't it? Like Daredevil skin at the end of the. There's only one skin.
Ninja going to be focused down because the damage amper from RAD, they mirror with their own amplifier, and they're able to take down a few. The rest of the members of Overwatch Ultra Gaming, though, 3 members are able to retreat out, but Crazy Kitty not looking to let them go. Goes in for the 1 versus 3.
If Marvel, wow, Jesus Christ, I don't understand what melee players are doing. If Marvel Rivals had better drops, this game could easily make it to 6 figures, like 100,000 viewers.
Even escaping, it's another wall. The portal does come down, but it was certainly awkward.
The freeze is good as Smashness takes to the sky. Goddess of Death to execute the chances of Overwatch Ultra Gaming. The fate of both worlds is cleaned out.
Oh, GG's, chat. Yeah, it's over.
Room is the perfect place to crown
it's over, bro. We're going to bed early. We're going to bed early.
Chances are looking slim, guys.
We're going to bed early. Look at this guy. He's even passed out.
Their tournament life is on the line. They need to get the full 3. They need to answer back and send us to overtime.
Otherwise, they will be out of the tournament. And look at him.
With how RAD are playing at the moment, they are full of confidence ever since they were able to deny OUG getting back into that series on the previous map. I think RAD knew this series was very much in their hands.
He's such a great cat, chat. He's such a great cat.
Hella has just been the perfect hero to play on the attack.
Oh, I got you. Wait,
headshot
where was that?
after headshot, Smash is on fire.
We talked about stuff that RAD does not have available to them. We talked about the
Where
stuff
was
they
that
do
at,
not
chat?
have for this defense with that Adam Warlock
Did one of my mods
taken
get him
away
already or
from them.
no?
So instead, what is an old-style defensive setup? We are looking at Hela, Namor, and we're even going to bring in the Hulk. They are
Also,
just going
Smash
to
Nez is
put
popping off,
all
bro.
of the
12 final
eggs in
hits.
the Crazy Kitty basket to allow
And this is the
as
first
many
time we
of
get to see
that
Hela
defensive
Namor. I don't think
setup
we've
as
ever seen
possible
Hela
to
Namor.
just zone
Maybe
out.
once, but...
Over Ultra Gaming, they're going to be sticking with the Adam. They're going to be sticking with the Ultron. They will get rid of the Penny, but this is a scary comp to push into, especially if you're a flyer or a diver.
And of course, we knew Hela Namor was always going to be a problem with the new team-ups as well. Hela on that Goddess of Death now will spawn all those squids on every single impact. Crazy Kitty offers so much to the Hela, but of course, the Namor in general is such a good defensive option against any sort of dive on the other side. I'm very excited for this one from RAD.
1 second,
The
chat.
Gamma Squid, it was infamous when it was around the first time and has returned once more. Over Ultra Gaming, they get a little bit of a scout, but they're just making their way up slowly, sending a couple shots downrange, not looking to get themselves caught out, but it's RAD who are playing incredibly safe. They want Over Ultra Gaming to step up. They want them to force themselves forward with those squishy backliners moving into those unsafe positions.
Who needs Spider Nest when you've got squids to work with instead? But Crazy Kitty needs to make sure you stay up here, being defended by Ducky at the moment. So great working together to make sure that this position is held on the high ground, just to deny an easy access for OUG.
What are squids but the spiders of the sea with their 8 legs as Crazy Kitty continues to throw as much damage out there as possible. Smashness is untouched up here. No one can get to them, and with that extra damage...
I don't know how I feel about Hela in pro play, though. I don't know if she's going to be as good as we think. I feel like the healing in professional matches are a little too much. So I don't know if you're able to be able to get like to finish someone off.
Over Ultra Gaming with the wraparound, they're building towards their first ultimates.
Yeah, first ultimate is going to be there, as Rage of Ultron going to be available for Illicit if he stays alive as well. Doesn't get focused perhaps, and maybe you can just push your way in and start to find a little bit of success as Rage of Ultron finally is available. But just as you get it, Crazy Kitty
Namor I think could work.
Taking a lot of damage in this choke point now. This is exactly where you don't want to be versus a Hela Namor, as they just send shots into the doorway and they're guaranteed to probably hit something. And there's also the risk of an extremely angry whale potentially picking you off.
He's not going to whale that.
Forced out even before Alyssa gets back to the fight, but he will be joining soon with that Rage of Ultron, which will probably be there the second that ultimate from Sfold expires. Great bubble, just keeping them alive at least for the moment. They do lose Smash Nez. Lugia Goat commits to the Monster Hulk to try and zone out the backline, but they are now very isolated. Rage of Ultron is trying to finish them. Meteor F, though, takes out Sfold.
We're going to have squids and a whale available for RAD now to use against OUG, so the entire ocean is going to be there at their whim if they want to use it when they need to. But at the moment, OUG haven't even been able to find anything as the first whale will come out. And of course, the little knockback will be there alongside maybe something to be found, but the Meteor M is an attempt to try and respond. Illicit gets one onto Ducky.
No one in the choke point at least, but instead when Shuyen takes out Match, Vertigo falls. That's a lot of the sustain for Ultra Gaming, but it will return in Doomsday as Disaster revives their team. RAD will not be so lucky.
Have we ever seen a double ult in pro play? Yeah, so far today, 2 teams, actually OUG over here double support ulted, not to last map.
But they will portal back even though they are staggered. They want to try and sustain this. Crazy Kitty is off of that Namor and is now onto the Black
Double support ulting is actually, it's horrible in ranked, but when you do it in pro play, that's even worse, you know, because there's money on the line.
You know this point may not go in your favor, but if you can take away as much time as possible from OUG, it just gives you such an advantage going into the next point if they are able to complete it. Ducky trying his best to stay alive, but gets removed as Illicit and Taro will eventually
hey, they still
find
capped out. Hey, they still have life. They still have life.
OUG to find the second point.
Vertigo making the most of that new Cloak and Dagger team up, swapping for the portal. They will go down, being chased down at the point there. But that new team up with Luna Snow does actually delay the point, so they did just dive through the portal to make sure they could keep touching and try and hold for as long as possible. They will now swap onto the Rocket, as that revive is going to be more important at least this stage of the map. Smashness sticking with the Hela. Crazy Kitty wants to try and see if they can hunt down that Ultron that's been marking them so well onto the Daredevil.
This push in particular was quick from RAD in the previous round, but OUG doesn't look like they're going to have that same success. They've already lost 3. RAD are already dominating here, and OUG back to the drawing board for this one. As still, Smash finding so much damage on this Hela.
Mash is doing so well, and again, this
Yes,
is
this is a best of
so
5.
good for. It's very wide open. You have
Yes.
massive range advantage, and especially on flanks like this, you could potentially get some easy pickups if people aren't careful on their rollouts. Blizzard has that Rage of Ultron at the ready, but you got to be careful on those flanks. Once again, there's a lot of pressure coming in from Crazy Kitty, who will get marked though. Great reactions from Over Ultra Gaming.
Crazy Kitty just hasn't been able to find that success on the Black Cat. Might maybe just switch over, but RAD still have damage to do here if they want, but with now Vertigo going down, suddenly they find themselves several players down and will have to just give up so much space here to OUG. But again, it's
nice
eating
hook.
away at time as
Yep,
Lugia
he's
now
dead.
tries to stall.
Did you buy the new Bucky skin? No.
Bionic Hook from Taro Cookie once again pulling
I don't
Lugia
think
out of
that
that
Bucky
safe
skin is
position
good.
behind the walls of Ninja and setting them up for the extra push. Straggling Prison to guarantee the second point. Over Ultra Gaming will not go quietly into that Dark Night as they keep
Wait, we got ourselves a game, bro. They have 4 minutes.
It looks like
3 minutes. Sorry, chat. Math is hard for me. I'm
from
from Florida.
3 minutes 10. Of course, they are not.
I didn't
likely
graduate
to be able
3rd
to
grade.
take this point quicker than RAD
I dropped
were,
out.
But can they send us towards overtime? They've got so much to use.
Oh,
here.
you only get a
And the
minute and a
question is,
half. That's
who
that's right. You get
first?
You get
Who's
2
gonna be the
minutes and
first
30
one to
seconds
bite
when
the
you cap
bullet?
first point.
Illicit with
True.
Rage of Ultron.
See, look at that, chat. That's why you got to know that.
And generate a little bit of pressure onto RAD.
A lot of extra push coming in here. That Rage of Ultron, like you said, out the ready along with Kraken, Impact, Invisible Boundary, and caught with Yard up on fire. Used at the same time by RAD. Immediately Rage of Ultron and Speed of both worlds used by Over Ultra Gaming. It's full defense to try and tag through with Meteor from Lugia in the doorway. Tries to in the sky.
Everyone panicked
down. Ninja's barely up.
Did the caster just say everyone panic?
He has the Kraken Impact at the ready, but it's going to be a straggling Prison from Ducky that secures the defense for a
Tree-on-tree violence.
Disaster does go down as well. Had the card
Crazy
revival,
Kitty.
but not
Holy
able to use
shit,
it.
bro.
OUG
Crazy Kitty's going
will have to
crazy.
reset.
Back to spawn. Just go. Do not risk it.
Don't give anything else to RAD as everyone panicked. Everyone.
Oh, yeah,
got the
RAD
ults
did
there,
double
and there's still going to be a couple left for RAD to work with. As
Did they
do
double
OUG.
support ult,
It's
like,
gonna
go
be cracking
over?
impact on both sides. Disaster. He switches off. He says the Atom's not worth it. And instead they switch over for the
And they
Rocket.
got rid of the res. Wow.
They send us to overtime.
They sacrificed the Adam ult. They're not believing in the amount of healing it could offer without an Ultron team up because Elizabeth swapped over to that Elsa Bloodstone disaster. On the Rocket is going to give so much more healing, at least in these team fights, especially when they're grouped up. And that Cosmic Gun Amplifier does charge quick, but it might not be available. If Crazy Kitty's able to find the pickup, but he will not find a finishing blow. They're still going to try and commit to this as Kraken Impact comes on down from
Oh,
Taro.
does he?
Turns
Oh,
it,
he
takes
got
out
so
Crazy
many
Kitty, but it's
people
not a
low,
reset. It was
bro.
not dropped on them. Crazy Kitty will return at the Rebirth Beacon, but Over Ultra Gaming still think that this is a fight.
OUG doing very well to stick together. Don't put themselves out of position, but the hook, but the instant bubble into the seer now as OUG try and climb these stairs effectively.
Oh my god, Taro Cookie. I know he's tilted off that one, bro. I hate hooking a Bucky and then I die. When I outplay the other Bucky, but I die.
Once again,
I
able
hate
to
that.
zone people away from their healing as Over Ultra Gaming are eliminated.
Anyways,
from
60
the
seconds,
board.
chat. This might be a
Everyone
GG's.
falls, and it's now time to regroup with a minute remaining. Even if Over Ultra Gaming are able to push on in for this final point, it will almost certainly be overtime. They will only have the basic minute left to try and outpush RAD, who had 2 minutes 43 seconds left at the end of their push.
They've got Invisible Boundary and the Kraken Impact. Are you ready to go again and again? Meteor M is going to be there for Lugia to work with too. Ultra Gaming do finally build up some ultimates to go at them here in this final push. But
Oh,
Ducky in a
nice
struggling
eat!
position to
Nice
start us
eat!
off, and now you'll see the Meteor M come out as a reply.
Oh.
You do hit Smash. That's
Smash Nez just
Rebirth
got
Beacon brings
smashed.
them back, but it's not so lucky for Crazy Kitty. Lugia looking for a target. Anyone will do. It's going to find a little bit of damage onto Wen Shuyan, but he will tang on through. Lugia falls, and Over Ultra Gaming in the neutral are taking a stand. They're able to track down a couple more members. Ducky falls, and Smashness needs to make sure he can get out, but no, he gets staggered out one more
Jordan
time.
for
And we hit
50
the
months, my
overtime.
friend.
Over
God
Ultra Gaming,
damn.
If they all go down or step
I appreciate it.
off
Sorry,
that
I have
point,
notifications
it's
turned
gonna
off
be
in the middle of the
RAD
tournament,
moving
but
up
I
the
appreciate it.
bracket.
I'll get to all the
If
subs and
Rocket
resubs in a second,
the
chat.
hope stays alive.
Appreciate it, though,
Crazy Kitty
guys.
on the flagging for the opening, but Illicit has the mark
W,
beautifully.
Jordan,
The
50
Aatrox
months.
is at the ready as they look for an opening.
And this is overtime, but can we go to overtime here for Over Ultra Gaming?
I don't think OUG wins this. I don't think OUG wins this. Nah, he's gonna get a reset and he's gonna go again. GG's, chat. Oh, go again, go again. Oh, GG's.
RAD get their win, and OUG go home.
Smashness with the Kraken Impact at the end to show that what they've shown repeatedly. Smashness on the Winter Soldier will always.
I just want to let
where
you guys know,
need
I have
them.
not
And RAD continue
gotten
their
a
journey through
single
the
prediction
mid-season
wrong.
finals.
Smash was fantastic from start to finish in this series. Definitely the difference maker. I know everyone from RAD played a part in that, but some of the
No
individual clutch
predictions
moments,
wrong
it was
yesterday.
all about what Smash was
No
able to do.
predictions
It
wrong
was
today. How many
18
predictions
final
were there
hits
yesterday?
for him in the end, by the way, alongside the 16 of Crazy Kitty. These two duelists can definitely go far here alongside the rest of the RAD squad. I would be terrified to play them in this lower
Six.
bracket.
There was 6 yesterday.
They keep stepping up. Every team they
No,
played
because
against
1,
so far,
2,
they keep
3. No,
stepping
Chad.
up.
Because
They
1,
always push everyone
2,
they play to
3.
the absolute limit. This is their first LAN for the majority of these players
1,
compared
2,
compared
3,
to
4.
Overultra Gaming, who have
1,
played at
2,
every single LAN so far.
3,
but RAD
4. No, there was
continue to
5.
show that they deserve
So,
to be here and
I'm 11 for
continue to
11.
show that they are to be feared.
I am
Of course, Miserations, we
11
have to say
for
goodbye to another
11
team,
right now, bro.
OUG. Their run comes to an end